How private equity firms analyze deals. The most important metrics. 1. Stabilized cap rate or stabilized yield. Since we focus on value-add deals, the entry cap rate doesn't matter at all as long as we can service our debt. The stabilized yield matters because it shows the intrinsic cash flow of the deal. The stabilized yield is the stabilized or after renovation NOI divided by all the costs in the deal. And NOI, by the way, is simply revenue minus expenses. In the regular world, you call it EBITDA. They're basically the same exact thing. It's a very simple calculation, but very important. We typically need to get to at least a 150 basis point spread between the stabilized yield and the market cap rate for a deal to pencil. For example, if the market cap rate is 5%, you need a minimum of a 6.5% stabilized yield for the deal to pencil. An example would be if you bought a deal for an in-place 4 cap, increased revenue to get to a 6.5% cap rate, and sell for a 5% cap rate. If you buy for $10 million with an NOI of $400K, put in $2 million of renovations, and bump the NOI to $780K, you stabilize at a 6.5% yield. The property is then worth $15.6 million for a profit of $3.6 million. The speed matters as well. The quicker the better for your IRR. Stabilized yield is a more important metric than IRR because it displays the intrinsic value of the cash flow, whereas IRR is a bet on the state of the capital markets based on the debt financing available at sale, as well as the cap rates at sale, which basically makes it somewhat of a guess. 2. Basis. You can show us any IRR you want, and we'll toss the deal if the basis is bad. What does this mean? It means that you want to look at comps and make sure that in any deal you buy, you're paying less than the market average. For example, multifamily is valued per unit. So if you take 10 comps and the average price is $100K a unit, you want to be buying for well under that number. Otherwise, barring the real estate being markedly better, you're not getting a good deal. You're simply paying market. Furthermore, that means in order to sell for a profit, the next buyer will actually have to pay you above market, which is a dangerous bet to make. You're essentially betting on a greater fool, which actually brings us to our next metric. 3. Exit basis. This is heavily tied to number 2. You don't want to invest in deals where the projected exit basis is significantly above the current market basis. For example, if the current market basis is 100K a unit, you'd want to buy for 60K a unit and pencil a sale at 80K a unit. That gives you a lot of breathing room and allows the next buyer to make money as well. I know this is easier said than done, but this is how disciplined underwriting works. 4. Unlevered versus levered returns. Basically IRR. This is just a gut check to make sure that our leverage isn't out of control. Basically, you want to make sure that the levered returns aren't drastically different than the unlevered returns. Otherwise, you don't have a good deal, you just have a lot of leverage. 5. Equity multiple. Only check this to make sure that there'll be enough profit for the deal to be worth it. There's no point in a 20% IRR and a 1.2x equity multiple. That's kind of a waste of everyone's time. 6. Cash on cash. A lot of amateur investors emphasize cash on cash returns, but it's a far less important metric than stabilized yield because it's reliant on the debt capital markets at any point in time, which isn't intrinsic to the property. So it's downstream of the yield. It's also less important for quick flips, which is predominantly what PE firms do, because of a lot of units turn over during the stabilization process, which results in choppier revenue for those years. We essentially ignore this metric and expect cash flow to be very low during the hold period, unless we're working with a specific LP who wants to optimize for cash flow. Often, we even have to make planned capital calls and have earnouts built into debt covenants to inject more capital for a value-add aspect of the deal. 7. Components of NOI. Then you look at the cash flow itself. What are the components of the revenue? What are the components of the expenses? What risks could cause major fluctuations in either one? Are you willing to accept these risks? How do these risks compare to other deals? You want to make sure that you're going into each deal with eyes wide open. There are risks to every deal, that's unavoidable, but you want to make sure that the deal makes sense on a risk-adjusted basis. And you want to make sure that there are downside mitigants and multiple exit options. Lastly, this isn't really a metric, but the most important part of our analysis is whether the deal itself is actually viable on a risk-adjusted basis, and whether the property is actually good real estate. Investing in only great real estate has allowed us to outperform. If you don't know, the Acquisitions Bootcamp is an 8-week program where you work one-on-one with me to craft an investment strategy to fit your skills, resources, and goals, and then find you a deal to fit that strategy. So it's for beginners and owners looking to scale. If you're interested in that, you can apply to that below.